This is Gemara Baba Kama Daf Kuf. We pick it up on Sadi Testament Bees. We pulled up a little bit short, but if you flipped over to today's Daf, you'll notice that Daf Kuf is quite a short one, so we'll have plenty of time and then some, hopefully, to make up where we're holding. So we're holding on Sadi Testament Bees. We're about 10 lines from the wide lines. The first line is Kinusha. Says the Gemara a story. There was a magrumta. There was a magrumta dasay lekamei Rav. What is a magrumta? So magrumta is, we'll look at Rashi. We'll let Rashi tell the story. Shachad mitoch achas atabois. V'agarim chutz bin atabois letabois v'shayir moli achot al pinei ruba. So it's a case of an animal slaughtered with hagrama. An animal slaughtered with hagrama that came before Rav. Tarfei upatre letabach milishalume dame. And Rav said that he was pater. So what's going on over here is that the owner gave over an animal for shchita, and the shaychet didn't do an appropriate shchita. He did hagrama, which is a form of shchita, where the shchita is done on an incline type of situation. And of course, we all know, this is probably the only din of shchita that most of us, or many of us, are familiar with, which is what? Which is that you need shtei simanim. You need the esophagus, you need the trachea to be fully severed. So what happened is after the sheikhet cut through the trachea, then he started going through the next pipe over here. And the issue is that while he was cutting through, he sort of went upward a little bit. Now, what does that mean? That's all those words in Rashi that we just read about, these taba'is, that there are around the trachea, there are these like rings of cartilage. I'm sure you've seen pictures. And so when you cut through, when you do the shchita, for example, let's envision each of my knuckles is another ring. So when you do shchita, what has to happen, you have to go straight through one ring. You're not allowed to go through one ring and then angle upwards and then cut through another ring. When one does that, that is this issue of hagrama. And the shayla is, what's the story when you did a raiv of one of these tabais, and then you went upward? This is a machlekes of the Gemara in Chulin, Tin Rav Yosi and the Rabbanan. The Rabbanan hold the shchita is no good, and Rav Yehuda holds that no, since the majority was done by kashrus, therefore it is good. So we have this case of this magrumta, which is an animal that was shechted again with hagrama, which means that instead of going straight through one of the cartilage rings around the esophagus, the trachea, the shechita was done more in an incline. So magrumta dasli kamei derav. And what happened was, tarfei, Rav ruled the animal is a treifa, but he said that the tabach, the shaychet, is pater from paying. What's the reason? The reason is because that's only according to the Rabbanan, it's treif. But according to Rav Yossi, Rav Yehuda, like we just mentioned, in the shchita is a kasha. That's the reason why Rav said you don't have to pay for that which you did. Paga be Rav Kahana v'Ravasi bahu kavra. Rav Kahana and Ravasi met the person, the owner of the animal. Amrulei avikach Rav tarti. Rav did tarti. Rav did two things to you. Now, what exactly does that mean? Rav did tarti. Explains the Gemara. My tarti. If you mean Rav paskin two ways against you, number one, he should have said the animals kasha krevis Rav Yehuda v'tarvik Rabbanan, and he paskin it straight like the Rabbanan issue number one. Inami number two, Rabbanan di he should have at least made him be chayiv. He have to pay you like the sheet of the Rabbanan. If that's the two things that you're bothered by, Is it possible to say such? Tanya, but we learned in a brayso sheyatza lo yomer ani maski v'chaverim chayvin. When a dayan leaves a bezdin, he cannot say that I personally felt you were not chayiv, but my friend, the other dayan, ruled against you. Avamasa, what should I do? Chaveri rabbi alai. That, but my friends prevailed upon me. They were the roiv. Alzen emar. Hoylech rachel megalesoit. That one who goes and gossips, reveals secrets, is telling stories. Meaning, a dayan is not allowed to say, I thought you should be potter. But they in Bezdin, the other dayanim, overruled me and said, you're chayiv. Says the Gemara, so it can't be that Rav Kahana and Rav Asi bumped into the guy and said, Oi, how do you pascha like that to you? You're not allowed to do that. Elo tarti l'malyusa. Rather, says the Gemara, you know what the tarti is? That they said Rav Kahana, Rav, paskin tarti. It's two good things. Number one, D'loi ochlach Safek Isura. Number one, it's a good thing they didn't give you that which is a Safek ulcer. And number two, Manacha Safek Gazela. They held Safek Gazela already from you. Meaning, by being machmir and calling the animal a treifa, he made sure you're not eating something which is possibly ulcer. And number two, by not making the other guy pay, he prevented you from having any level of gzela. Says the Gemara, end of story number 1. Story number 2, Itmar, continues the Gemara, 2 lines on the wide lines, and Saditesa mid base. Hamare dinner l'shulchani. So and shows a dinner to a shulchani, to a money changer. So he wants to know that the coin is good. The money changer says it's a valid coin. Guess what? Sarah. At the end of the day, it was found that the coin is not good. Tani Chada, one writes says Potter. Excuse me, Uman Potter had yoid chayiv. Tani Idach ben Uman ben had yoid chayiv. 2 braisos. So what's actually the din? Amar Abba Kitani Uman Potter. When do we say the Uman is Potter? Going to Nachu. Ve'Iser. When do we say the Uman is Potter? Is like going Dankoi ve'Isur. 2 people's names, the Loisrichi le'Migmar. Klal. They don't need to learn anything, meaning they're fully proficient at money changing, and therefore there's no way that we fault them for saying that it's a good coin and it really wasn't. But if such is the case, then how do they make a mistake? If they're such experts, how do they make a mistake? Says Gemara, Tov b'sichsa. Chada to a new stamp that he shaita did nothing but to say sichsa. That it came out mamish right then, and they didn't know of this brand new coin, but there's no way they could have known that. And that's the reason why they are potter. So it says the Gemara, that's the story. Really, they're experts. The reason they're potter was a coin came out right then, and there's really no way that they should have known about that. Continues the Gemara, there was a woman, we're 4 lines from the bottom of Sadites, Amid Beis, Achazi dinar the Rav Chia. She showed a dinar, she showed a coin to Rav Chia to verify it's kosher. Amar la Malyahu. Rav Chia responded, it's a good coin. Lamachar asalikim amrele achzitei. The next day she showed it to him, and what happened? I showed it, they said to me, it's a bad coin, and I can't use it. Amar le Rav, Rav said to Rav, Zil chalfei nihalei. Go exchange the coin for her. No, you should write, Dain osik bish. This was a bad deal that I lost money. Why? Because I should not have given advice. Because I gave advice and I originally said it was good, that's why now he's making good on it and he's swapping it for a new coin. Says the Gemara, 1 second. We just said a moment ago, Dankai and Isser were 2 people who are experts, who are Umans, craftsmen. So we said, even though they made a mistake, They didn't have to do anything about it. So ask the Gemara, Rav Chia Nami in the last line, Lav Lemigr Kabai. He also didn't have to learn anything. He knew how to be a money changer, so why is he chayiv? Says the Gemara Rav Chia, he wasn't really chayiv. Lifnim bishur zadinu davad. He went beyond the letter of the law, meaning it's true. He could have said, I'm Potter and walked away, Baruch Chia Rabba. Chia, when Lefnim Yishur thinking. Tani Rav Yosef, V'odata Elohem, as Rav Yosef taught in a brayso, the pasuk says you should make known to them. Zeh, what does that refer to? Beis Chayehem, their livelihood. Es Haderech, as we turn over to Kof Amid Aleph, should make known to them their livelihood. Number one, Es Haderech, and that they should walk Zu Gmils Chasadim. Yelchu, they should go. Zubikar choilim ba zukvura. Es ha'maisa zehadin asher yason zulafnim mishur es hadin. So from this pasuk we learn that there is, of course, a maila, not a chiyuv, but a maila to go beyond the letter of the law, even when one is not fully obligated. But there is this maila. Continues the Gemara on the third line of Kuf Amid Aleph with another story. Reish Lakish achlei dinari le Rav Elazar. Reish Lakish showed his dinar to Rav Elazar. Amar and wrote to Rav Elazar, say, Mal Yehu, it's a good coin. Amar le chazid alach kasam chinon. Reish Lakish said, I'm relying upon you. You're telling me it's a good coin? I'm relying upon you. Amar le. Reish Lakish responded, Kisam chazalai ma'ila memra. What do you mean you say? What are you pointing out that you're being say mechami? Well, your point is the imishtakach bisha. If you're gonna, your reason why you're saying you're lying upon me is so that if afterwards we find the coin is not good, you want me to exchange it for you? Can't be. But you, Reish Lakish, are the one that says. Der Amrit Rameir who did Dayin Dina Digarmi. Rameir says that we could hold someone accountable for Dina Digarmi. So my love, Rameir Velos Yulan cover say. It is not only that Rameir who says Don Dina Digarmi, but we don't hold like him. Can't be. So Reish Lakish, what are you saying by saying I'm relying upon you? So Amar Le, Reish Lakish responds 4 lines from the white lines, like Rameir Usfir Lan Kavasei. This is Rameir Shita, and we indeed hold like Rameir, and that's the reason why I'm telling you that I'm relying upon you and on your valuation of this coin. Says the Gemara, now you said this din of Rameir Bal Karmi. Hey Rameir, which Rameir? Elim Rameir the Tanan, it's Rameir from the Mishnah, 2 lines of the white lines. Says Rameir, Dones Adin, Zicha Zachayev, Chayev as a Zakai. Timis Atar Tiras Atim. What happens if after adjudicating a case, they said the one that's Chayev, the Zika Zachayev, the one that's not Chayev, the Chayev. Chayev as a Zakai, the one Chayev who should be Potter. Timis Atar Tiras Atame, they keep on basking wrong. What's the halacha? Masha Asoy Asoy, and the first white line. Yishalem mi beisai. He has to pay from his own property. So maybe this Mishnah shows us there a mayor holds on dining the army, as we see that if you mess up, also if you Yishalem you have to compensate. Says the Gemara, it can't be. The case that the dayan is chayiv is only he took the money and he gave it with his own hands. Therefore, it's not a garmi at all. Elohara meir must see this Rameir the Tanan Litzvah Eloyad Amar Mishnah. V'tzava Yishachar to dye it red and he dyed it black. Shav Yishachar v'tzava Yadayim and he dyed it red. Rameir Amir Noisla Demeit Samroi. Rameir said you're chayiv. So that's where it shows us that Rameir is holding that done indeed in the garmi, even though it's not direct damages, one still has to pay for it. And similarly in our case, says the Gemara no raya. Hasam kavid biyadayim. Over there he does damage to his own hands. Elahara Meir. So we're still trying to figure out where is this Shitas or Meir that holds Dayin Dina de Garmi being indirect, but a more direct form of damages. Says the Gemara. As we learned in the Mishnah, if someone is misachech, if someone spreads over his geffen, his grapevines on top of this grain, the tvua shel chaveroi, harei kiddush. It makes it kiddush, which means it makes it unfit, as it is kalayim v'chayev, and he's obligated to pay. So what do we see? We see here a Mishnah that seemingly is not direct damages. It's because they got mixed, therefore it's kalayim, therefore you can't get benefits. So we see Dain Din the Armi. Says the Gemara, no right. Last line of Kufam and Aleph Hasanami Kavod Biyadayin. It's also a case in which he did it with his hands. Elahara Meir, says the Gemara. The reason that's called Biyadayim is because Biyadayim, he spread the vine over the grain, and maybe that's why you're chayiv. Meaning the Gemara is suggesting maybe there's a higher level of garama garmi when you do it Biyadayim. Elahara Meir, there must be this Meir, the Tanya in the last line. Mechitza zakeren shenifritza. If the mechitza, if the wall around the karim out in the vineyard got nifrasa, got breached, got blown open, as we turn over to Kof Amid Aleph, what's the halacha? The halacha is, Aimer Lai, we tell him, Gedar, make your fence, fix up the hole. Nifritza, what happens if after you fix it again, got a hole? I'm like Gedar. Nisyayish mimanav lo gajar, he's like Kidesh. The moment that you're Nisyayish, you give up hope, then it is Kidesh, and it's called Kalayim. And at that moment, you would yes be Chayev Achri Yusai. So this is going to be the Makar of Rameir that says Dain Dina de Garmi, because we see over here it's definitely not direct damages, but there would be accountability nonetheless. Continues the Mishnah on Kof Amid Beis. You give wool to someone to die, and it burned the wool. You have to pay in the value of the wool. If he dyed it not so well, meaning which is worth more, the shevach of the item or the yitziyos that went into it? Rameir Omer Noisel Demeit Samri. Review Daimer Mashiach Yisrael Yitzia Noisel Demei Yitzia V'Yitzia Yisir Al Shavach Noisin Loi Esa Shvach. Let's just begin for a moment. The Gemara explains the Gemara, my Ka'ar. What does it mean he dyed it? Ka'ar, not so well. Amar Nachon Chana Kalbos. It means Kalbos. Says Mershkoyach, my Kalbos. Amar Shmuel. Kalbos is, or Kalabos is, we turn over to Kuf Aleph. Amid Aleph is Kafrei Dudi. This is a kfar. This is kafir just means it was wiped out. Kuldri, by the cauldron, that all the dye left in the pot were that was waiting to be repaired. They all got destroyed, and that's going to be this case over here. We'll pick it up from the two dots the next year.